Hi everyone, Slow Journalist here with my new to Motorsport 2023 Chevrolet Corvette Z06 to give you a supplemental guide to my blind driving assist video. This blind driving assist video will include personal opinions and me driving on the track to give you an idea of how each feature is supposed to perform in the eyes of a sighted person. I've chosen Maple Valley's full circuit as the test bed for all the blind assists. There are 20 tracks to experience in Forza Motorsport, with more coming along post-launch, but I figured this would be a good place as any to test all the blind assists in my eyes, hopefully to help bring, for those of you who are still on the fence about it, to come around and hopefully buy this game. Word of warning though, this is an entirely opinion-based supplement, so your mileage will definitely vary, and please do not take anything I am saying as a fact. Some more housekeeping that I'm going to provide with this video is that the steering guide, the first feature that I'm going to be discussing in this video, will be on all the time. It will be the only feature that will be enabled as I progress through each individual blind driving assist and giving my opinion on them. With housekeeping out of the way, let's take this Z06 on the track and let me explain each individual feature on its own. I'm sorry to pull over all of a sudden, but I figured I'd take this opportunity to tell you that my input device is not broken. As a matter of fact, it's the steering guide applying audio telling me to go left. As you can hear, it is clearly too far on the right side of the bus, and before you go in and check your audio balance settings, don't bother, because it is absolutely normal onto how the steering guide is functioning. Now, if I take the Z06 and head back to this driving line, it's telling me to go straight now. And now that I'm facing in the direction I'm going, with my car on the line itself, the audio is just pretty balanced now. So, this is the first of the features that will essentially tell you how to guide your car on the track. Now, when I tested this for the Blind Driver's Guide, I found it actually quite useful at telling me at where I needed to be on the track. So if you inadvertently found yourself one day with the driving line off because somebody thought they'd pull a joke on you, you should be fine. Now, how does it work in practice? Well, we've got the amphitheater corner ahead of us here at Maple Valley, and so let's put my foot down and give you a demonstration. Alright, amphitheater checkpoint go, timer has started. You can hear my audio biasing left. I'm stepping out of line deliberately. You can hear the audio biasing left. Don't check your sound balance settings, people. Wait! Still on it. Back in a straight line. Now audio's bouncing right, telling me to go around the corner. A little bit of lift there. We are in the wet, so I apologize for the rain header. And, back on the straight. It's pretty simply effective, I'll tell you that much. Alright, amphitheater here. Audio biasing to the right, because we're going around a left-hander. You can invert the setting, by the way, if you need to. And, in terms of look ahead, I'm leaving it on default. It's completely fine. Whoa. A little bit disorienting at first, but not too hard to get used to. The second feature I'm going to talk to you about is the turn navigation and the turn queue. It's actually... the turn navigation is pretty much like a pace driver sitting next to you, except he or she is on the radio telling you how to go around, well, essentially what corners to expect. For example, dearie me, sliding out a bit here. Oh, right 6. Essentially in the wet, normally it would be flat, but I don't think that's something you want to do in this car in these conditions. Right 5. And that's the first 3 cues. The first 3 cues you heard there for the turning before the corner, that is essentially telling you when to expect the corner. So by the third one, you should hopefully have slowed down by now and are going around the corner as such. I'm going around the farmhouse corner again. Whoa! Alright, and the third pitch at the third of the second of the those track cues is essentially what point you're on the corner. So I'll demonstrate again, now that we have the amphitheater corner, well, actually the long left 6 coming up.
Left 6.
Right. First bump, that's now.
Left 3 long.
And that's the end of the corner. First one. Second
Left
one.
2 long.
Power out of that one by the third one, hopefully without too much incident.
Left 3 long into right 3 long. Left 4 into right 4.
Although I do have to confess, on some tracks, if the corners are too close together, you might not hear the cornering bump. You'll have to rely on your steering guide to help you out through that section there. It is a bit temperamental, but provided with some practice and with a sighted driver behind the wheel, I don't think you should have too many difficulties. Again, emphasis on practice, not the guided driver part. Oh,
right 6.
Oh, this is such a fun car to drive. Alright, moving on to the next feature.
Right 5.
Well, the next feature is the AI takeover queue. So, in order for this to work, you have to have the computer driving, i.e., if you decide to go to a pit lane right now, and we enter it right now, there's the queue for it there. I think the pit crew are going to be confused as to why I'm turning in so often. Alright, there's this tire selection, there's the estimated laps for the fuel. We don't need the fuel because this is technically an arcade mode.
Fresh rubber.
2.7 seconds later, going out of the pit lane. 55 miles an hour. 500 feet. 400 feet. 300 feet. 200 feet. 100 feet. AI still in control. And there's the cue. It could do with it being a bit louder, but you can adjust the pitch of the cue if it's a bit too much. Actually, not too much, that's a terrible word to use. It's a bit too quiet for you. You can get it just as higher. This is on default, so it's on 50 in this case. Alright. Shall we move on to the next feature? Now, this next feature is called the deceleration cue. And, it's pretty much what it says on the tin, telling you when to brake, essentially, before a corner. Now, if you use it in conjunction with the turning cue, it is actually quite good at telling you when to brake. However, in some situations, i.e. that fast couple of corners there, it does have a habit of beeping unnecessarily. Although in some cases, you can take a corner flat, but it still beeps at you anyway. I suppose it could be because it's also trying to tell you when to lift off the throttle as well as when to brake, and if it beeps fast, it's telling you to brake. If it beeps slowly, it's telling you to lift off. But in some corners that I've driven, at least here on Maple Valley, oh, track's actually drying up pretty well, actually. Yeah, you don't need to brake on some, so it's really more of a trust fall exercise. Do you trust yourself to want to brake through the corner, or do you trust yourself to lift off, or do you just not bother at all? I mean, here's this next left 6 coming up. Went through the corner flat. Obviously, when you get to amphitheater here, you obviously want to brake, because if you don't, you'll just end up in the wall. Oh dear. Yeah, it's definitely beeping around. So, yep, there it goes again. It's definitely got the precision debate. It's very precise, but sometimes it's not very accurate to conditions sometimes. I think, yeah. As we go through this next... Alright. Alright, let's move on. So the next on the feature list, or sorry, not the feature list, why have I been saying feature list in the previous section? Anyway, this next assist is called the track limits queue, which essentially, as you can hear, is beeping at me whenever I get close to the track limits themselves. It's like a parking sensor, really, except I think that's the best way to put it as. However, it does go full-on beep when you attack a curb. For example, I'm going through the elevator bend, well, the section before the elevator bend. It's beeping away. Obviously, the rightmost beep is meaning you're coming close to the right side of the track, left seeing the left side of the track. And, that's it. Alright. Obviously, could be a simple incident of when you inadvertently go off track, and here, coming around the rocket, foot flat to the floor. Let's see what happens if I accidentally crash. Well, I'm actually doing it on purpose. Yeah. Well, the steering guide is pretty much telling me where the track is. Although I think it's biasing in the wrong direction at the moment, because it's telling me to go this way. Or is it? Yeah, again. It takes some getting used to. I'm still not there yet. Right. And the next bit is the shifter, so let me enable that in a moment and rejoin you shortly. As soon as I get around the straight, obviously. Right, so now what I've just enabled is the shifter, well, 3 features actually. The shift up chime, the Q actually, that's the shift down, because I'm decelerating right now. The shift telling me what gear I'm in 3rd at the moment.
4th.
That's 4th. Let's see if we can get a shift up one. The audio cues are actually quite clear. It's only downshift now. Drifting.
4th.
That's
3rd.
Downshift.
4th.
There's a higher pitched one telling you to shift up and a lower pitched one telling you to shift down. Whoa. Let's get on these straight. Here we go. That's an up.
5th.
That's a down.
4th.
Another up.
5th. 4th.
Sounds pretty simple to me.
3rd. 4th.
And pretty self-explanatory, too. Whoa. Although, I'm not sure if the gear indicator will drive me mad at some point, because it's just gonna keep... Yeah. It's actually using the what's it called? The screen narrator to tell you what gear you're in, which is why it probably sounds, less like the operator for the radio, which essentially the
4th.
track directional
3rd.
cues. Alright. And last but not least, a question that has been on the lips of people who have seen me just crash there. What happens if I end up inadvertently facing the wrong way? What's gonna happen? Well, if you've enabled the wrong way queue and find yourself in that situation, as I'm about to deliberately put myself in right now, like so. Whoa, that was a full 360. Anyway, let's put that in practice, shall we? You can hear that beep. It does become louder when you start moving, and it's essentially telling you to turn around when it's safe, and when you're facing the right direction. That didn't go off that time. Let's try this again. Handbrake. There you go. That's how you tell if you're facing the right way. Let's try this again. pretty good warning system, that. Although, again, I think it could be a little bit louder. But it is on full blast, so... So on the whole, what do I think about the blind driving assists? Well, I definitely think they are a winner in my book. I think people who are going to get this game and play with the blind driving assists will be able to keep themselves on the track with no trouble. The complaints I have are pretty minor. Some of them could be a little bit louder, and some of them could be a little bit more obvious especially when you're on the track limit. Sometimes I find them a little bit too quiet. Other than that, I definitely think this is definitely worthy of praising for the blind accessibility options given to players who are visually impaired. Will it actually work in a competitive environment against several other players? Well, I honestly couldn't tell you beyond a reasonable doubt. I think maybe, eventually, with enough practice, and maybe some opinions from sighted drivers, there could be a possibility for some people who are visually impaired to be probably just as fast as the average Forza player, maybe even faster if they needed to be. The only other issue that I can think of at the moment is what happens if I take the blind driving assist to a multiplayer lobby. Obviously I haven't found out myself, but I'm hoping you guys will be able to test that for yourselves and then give me your opinion on how your experience was in a multiplayer lobby with the blind driving assists. Alright, that's it from me. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you around on the track.